Greetings of the interweb, I'm Parax11, review of the good, the bad, and the underrated. To finish off this year's Halloween reviews, instead of looking at an especially dark episode of a usually dark cartoon, I think it'd be better if I looked at an unusually dark episode of a usually light-hearted show.
One of the best animated shows from recent years is without a doubt Star vs. the Forces of Evil. With lovably absurd characters, awesomely absurd animation, and amazingly absurd stories, it's an incredibly absurd success. The dimension-hopping princess, Star, and her more normal friend Marco have loads of fun adventures to other dimensions and cause chaos at the local high school, yet never get expelled. Man, the American education system really is screwed. So for Halloween, they decided to do an absurdly dark story, with the same wacky spirit as most of the show. And while at first this may seem risky, 80s Doctor Who coming to mind, it turned out well in the episode Hungry Larry. Similar to Gravity Falls Summerween,
You know what, note to self, review Summerween next year.
The episode keeps a good sense of humour, as always, while still giving kids some lovely nightmares to go with the jokes.
So before I satisfy my hunger for pumpkin pie, let's satisfy my hunger for awesome magical girls with an IQ above single digits, as we take a look at Star vs. the Forces of Evil's Hungry Larry.
This episode starts with some kids knocking at the door of the Diaz house.
Oh, hello, children.
Oh, the smile on his pumpkin is adorable. Oh yeah, creepiest monologue. It's good with the satirical tone of Star, since the children don't find it scary at all. Oh, it's so cute.
Eventually, the kids get tired of it and leave.
To be fair, it was scarier than any of the Paranormal Activity movies.
Halloween is over. Jana and Star need to go home now.
Dad, Star lives here.
Marco, this is my review. Stop stealing my nitpicks or I find a new fave.
Star gets the idea to summon someone called Hungry Larry.
He said it! He said it!
To make the haunted house scarier, but Marco's against summoning a demon because, well, it's a demon.
I'm gonna go bribe some 5-year-olds. Maybe they'll think my dad's scary.
Well, the 5-year-olds are supposed to like this. I don't think anything will scare them.
If Hungry Larry is the haunt you need, do these actions and you'll succeed. A lick of mustard you must bear off an old takeout menu if you dare.
That just sounds unsanitary.
There, go wash your mouths out, young women.
They summon Casey Affleck, who seems surprisingly not scary.
Larry? Larry, what you doing?
I guess he's been downing oil. What a lad. He throws them out of Star's room. Jerk. As Jaina mouths off about Mr. Diaz.
I really just wanted Mr. D to have his haunted house.
Well, even if you did give him a haunted house, that wouldn't make Mr. Diaz scary.
Jaina, stop having a point. Mr. Diaz is too cute. She gets the idea to fire Larry.
And I'm sure this will go well. And 3, 2, 1. Poor Jana. Only 2 days left till retirement. Or graduation?
The screams then attract more disposables.
Did that scream come from inside of this haunted house?
Yes, but this is Disney. They want good actors. The new Shyamalan film is filming over there. Seriously, Marco, can you bribe some better kid actors? Jesus.
What is going on? Okay, Marco, I know you said no summoning, but we summoned. We summoned Hungry Larry.
Star, if you weren't so precious and adorable, I'd hate you.
The kid's screams quickly fall silent to find Star's room empty and covered in Venom's vomit. Seeing Star's usually bright and cheery room be perverted like this is honestly very unsettling. Up until this point, the episode had been fairly regular Star, a lovably childish conflict, and Star doing something that's not a very good idea, although this is where her naivete results in more dire consequences than usual. They then find the kids have already wet themselves.
Where's Hungry Larry?
He's still hungry.
Order some takeout.
He then takes Marco as eerie whispers ensue. A creepy build-up to...
I'm still hungry.
Excuse me a moment. I need to go change my underwear.
Meanwhile, Mr. Diaz decides to take the Frankenstein blow-up doll and make himself a bit more chipper. Also, maybe you should have worn the Jason mask when the kids were there. Worth a try at least.
Oh, no.
No, don't worry, Mr. Diaz, he's only trying to escape Universal's Dark Universe. Although, from what I've heard, he's not going to have to run for very long.
He goes in to apologise to Mrs. Diaz, but finds the black goo from Prometheus instead of his family. He finds Star's bedroom, along with an overweight parachute.
I'm hungry, Larry.
Larry, you might want to get that checked out.
Where is my family? I told you. They're in here.
Well, that's going to join Slade and Arachnid in my nightmares for the next few years.
I would eat you too, but I'm stuffed.
I guess you're fatty Larry now.
Count your blessings, I guess. But my family is my blessings.
Aww.
What I meant to say was...
Mr. Diaz gets tired of Larry crapping all over his house and eating his family, and reserves the right to be awesome.
Give me back my family!
Holy hell, Mr. Diaz is a badass.
He decides to give Larry severe indigestion while scarring the kids even more. Okay, I'm proud of you, man, but there has to be a better time for that than when they're about to be eaten by gluttonous ghoul. Larry throws up everyone.
That's disgusting.
And they all cheer for him being scary.
Well, I guess Hungry Larry bit off more than he could chew.
Leave this place.
Wow, Larry didn't even clear up. How rude.
So that was Hungry Larry. I'm not quite sure if this one is unsettlingly funny or funnily unsettling.
There's a great mix between the usual weirdness Star provides and a gleeful darkness once Larry shows up. While I wouldn't call the animation in the show great, it's still good, and comes through where it needs to, especially with the creepy imagery in Star's room. Larry's rather unimpressive introduction also builds a false sense of security that's shattered when we see his successful attempts to be scary. This episode was also a great showing for Marco's dad. While he's usually a very likeable, if childish, character, this shows a fierce loyalty to those he loves that's both touching and frightening. Like with Larry, his introduction as silly and not scary reaffirms that previous episodes writing him as a lovable buffoon, but when the time comes, he reminds Larry to beware the nice ones. Overall, this episode was a fun and spooky outing with the dimension-hopping princess, showing that she doesn't have to travel far to bring some intense threats with her.
So I hope I satisfied your hunger for good reviews, and that you have a spooky as well as happy Halloween. I'm Parax11, and thank you, pathetic mortals, for watching.
Spooky, scary skeletons and shivers down your spine. Shrieking skulls will shock your soul, seal your doom tonight. Spooky, scary skeletons speak with such a screech. You'll shake and shudder in surprise when you hear these zombies.